Greetings and good evening from beautiful Gainesville, Florida. This is Frank Fry, the gaming grognard graybeard, with yet another video. Today, however, being Monday, a lot of people do rants on Monday, so I'm going to do my version of a rant. Whatever. Actually, I'd like to talk about something that has cropped up on the interwebs. And that is, well, it began with a video from a guy called Robert the Narrator on YouTube. He asked a very interesting question. He posed a very interesting question. In effect, is D&D too grognardy? Grognardy. Anyway, very good, very thought-provoking. Runeslinger, Anthony Boyd, replied with another some more fascinating insight. Well, I'd like to throw my 2 cents worth in. First of all, let's define the term grognard. Originally, and Anthony got it right, but originally it came from Napoleonic France. It was how Napoleon referred to his old guard. He referred to them as his old grognards, which basically means grumblers. Because grumble they did, but they also marched. Grognard has become a term in gaming. It originally began in miniatures gaming. If you were a gaming grognard, that meant you had been in the hobby for a while. And, I guess that meant you had a lot of insight or whatever. I know I am a grognard by a matter of seniority, having turned 68 at the end of October. So I guess I'm a grognard. I've also heard it pronounced grognard. But anyway, the term means people who have done a lot of gaming and a lot of grumbling, and that pretty well covers me. But what it also means, and what Robert the Narrator talked about, are the people who play D&D and play D&D and play D&D. In fact, it's all they ever play, been playing it for years, and really do not seem to want to play anything else. I've run into this myself. How many times have you all heard oh no man, we got this little group that meets, and we've been playing this D&D campaign for 10 years or whatever, ever since Pontius Pilate was a lance corporal. And this also generally tends to mean, oops, sorry, you're out. It's almost an exclusionary boast now. It's kind of like, well, we really don't have room, or, we've got this, that, or the other. In some instances, it's true. And in other instances, it's also true, but in a different way. And I want to talk about that different way a little bit. We don't have room. What that basically means is we're very content with what we've got, and we don't want anything new bothering us. Okay, I understand that. If that's your idea of fun and that's your comfort zone and you're having a great time, by all means, that's what you want to do. Do it. Me, I take the opposite tack. I like new games. I like new way of doing things. I'm such a grognard, by the way, and I've often made this claim, probably on my channel here, so here we go again, that I played Chainmail, which was the original basis for D&D, for Dungeons and Dragons. That's right, Chainmail was a war game, which also explains too why you had a lot of the in-depth rules and stuff like that. It came out of a war game background. In fact, that's why a lot of the old school rules seemed to be rather complex with literally a rule for everything. So, you know, that's the background I came from. And I think, well, as time went on, of course, other games took precedence other than D&D, and even the Dungeons and Dragons I played first and second edition, for example, turned. I remember one campaign we nicknamed Stormtroopers and Sorcery. That's right, we were Terran Imperial Stormtroopers doing a little dungeon delving on this weird planet, equipped with, you know, powered armor and blasters and stuff like that. It was tremendously fun and very inventive. Very creative. I remember a couple of dungeons. I remember one in particular where the city was so fascinating, the way my friend Olaf Ridholm ran it. We didn't want to go crawl around in the dungeon. We were having too much fun in the city. And as far as character development, things like that, yeah, we liked doing that. A lot of us did. So now we kind of fast forward to this controversy, if you wish to call it that. I don't. I think it's a matter of styles. Is this good for the hobby? Is this good for people? You know, this is what you like to do, and this is what you're being entertained, and you find it fun and entertaining. Yeah, go for it. My only objection is when it starts turning into the point where you start turning people away just because you really don't want any new faces. Now, the other thing too is for a lot of folks, a number of folks, this is how they get started in gaming, with this little group. And trust me, I've run into little groups. I've played in little groups, and I felt like, I wasn't very welcomed. Because it's like, oh, a new guy. Well, yeah, you just don't get it. So I left after one session. I've done that. I've played in other groups where I thought it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it for what time there was. I've also played in groups that have changed games seems like every session, somebody's doing something different. Campaigns only run a couple of sessions. And I've also had the privilege of playing in groups where the campaigns ran for a long time, a reasonable amount of time, say 11 weeks, playing every week or something like that, 11, 12 weeks. And that I thought was I always enjoyed that because it was a story, and things that you did had impact on things later on. I've seen a lot of very new games that I really like, Numenera being my number one game that I really like. It's an amazing game. It's an amazing RPG with an incredibly complex, well thought out, and excellent setting. Yes, it is. My second favorite, which I will review probably next time I hit the silver screen, will be Fantasy Age, which is to me basically my favorite fantasy rules. I like them much better in D&D 5th edition. And I kind of like D&D 5th edition. I just don't want to run it. But I'm running a Fantasy Age campaign, and we're having a grand time with it. And I think it's going to get better. I hope it'll get better. I'm trying that. But what I'm saying is the one bad part about Grognardism is it really kind of shuts you off from a lot of other things. Now, in miniatures gaming, I do historical miniatures, as many of you know. And I've already, I've reviewed, there have been some games that I've played, some rule sets I played, Flames of War being one of them, that I was kind of like, okay, Well, it was a good experience, but I'm not going to put any money into this. I'm not trying to build armies. It was a little too competitive competition. And then Battlefront came out with Team Yankee. Let's fight the World War that never happened, World War III in the mid 1980s. I got interested in that, and I bought some stuff for it. I have a West German battle force and slowly building up Soviet opposition. And I found myself really enjoying it, and I really got into it. So yeah, this was something new. I played the Sword and the Flame colonial skirmish rules for more years than I care to remember. The late Larry Brom, I counted among my friends. But now a new one has come out called The Men Who Would Be Kings, loosely based on one of my favorite medieval rule sets, Lion Rampant, and its fantasy counterpart, Dragon Rampant. I have them both. So I got that, and I really like it. It's new. It's something different. Will I give up the Sword and the Flame? No, not on your life, buddy. But this does give me another experience. Another game system to experience. So I guess in closing, before I rattle on too much longer, I would just, like to say, I basically consider game rules, whether they're RPGs or historical miniatures or whatever, as recipes. Like a recipe. And you have to decide, okay, what do I want to eat tonight? What do I want to cook tonight? And that's what it's like. And they're recipes. You pick and choose whatever you are in the mood to enjoy. And that's the great beauty of it. So, have a good holiday season. I will be back.